Have you ever wondered how a war survives when its soldiers are starving, lost, and surrounded, yet the supply lines never truly die? I used to ask myself that question every night as I lay flat against the damp earth, my cheek pressed into mud, my fingers still smelling of ink, blood, and jungle leaves. The bombs fell somewhere far away, or maybe too close. It was hard to tell anymore. But I knew one thing with absolute certainty. If I failed to move tomorrow, someone at the front would not eat, would not fight, would not come home. And yet, no history book would ever carry my name. My name is Lon. Before the war swallowed everything, I was a girl who measured time by the rice harvest and the sound of my mother's loom. I was born in a small village where the river bent gently like a sleeping animal, and life followed rhythms older than any gun or uniform. When the war began to stretch its shadow over our land, it did not arrive all at once. At first, it was only rumors. Villages burned somewhere else, bridges destroyed somewhere else, boys not returning from somewhere else. Then, one evening, a man in worn sandals came to our village. He spoke quietly, carefully, as if even words could be overheard. They needed people who could move unseen. They needed giao, liên, couriers. I was 18. I did not know how to fire a rifle. I did not know how to command anyone. But I knew the jungle paths, the hidden streams, the places where footprints disappeared after rain. I raised my hand before fear could stop me. That night, my mother did not cry. She only tied my hair more tightly than usual and said, "If you must walk into the fire, walk so others can follow." War is often described through battles, gunfire, explosions, flags raised and torn down. But for those of us behind the front lines, war was something quieter and more constant. It was hunger. It was silence. It was the unbearable weight of knowledge folded into a scrap of paper hidden in the lining of my shirt. As a courier, I carried messages, orders, coordinates, warnings, sometimes medicine, sometimes maps drawn by hand, sometimes nothing but memory, because paper could burn and memory could not. We were told, if captured, swallow the paper. If you cannot swallow it, destroy it. If you cannot destroy it, run until you cannot breathe anymore. The problem was not just the enemy. The problem was that the jungle itself could betray you. A snapped branch, a disturbed bird, a footprint where none should be. Every journey felt like walking through a world that was trying to decide whether to let you live. As the months passed, the enemy began to understand something terrifyingly precise. They learned that the war did not move only with soldiers, it moved with women. The bombing of the Trong Son routes grew heavier. The skies roared day and night. The ground shook so often that we stopped flinching. Craters became landmarks. Destroyed roads became challenges. That was when the Dân Cong, the civilian laborers, became the backbone of survival. I watched women twice my age lift stones larger than their children. I watched girls no older than 15 carry ammunition boxes with bleeding hands wrapped in torn cloth. They repaired roads under moonlight and rebuilt bridges before dawn, knowing full well they might not live to see morning. And then there were the Thanh Yin Smoothong, the youth volunteers. They sang as they worked, not because they were brave, but because silence made the fear louder. The conflict escalated when the bombs began falling directly on our repair teams. Roads were destroyed faster than we could rebuild them. Supply lines thinned. Messages took longer to arrive. At the front, soldiers waited. Behind them, we ran. There is one night I will carry with me until the day I die. I had been assigned to deliver an urgent message, new coordinates, a warning of an imminent airstrike. The paper was small, folded so tightly it felt like part of my skin. Halfway through the journey, the sky exploded. The jungle lit up as if the sun had fallen to earth. Trees burned, the ground screamed. I threw myself into a shallow ditch as fire rolled overhead, swallowing everything green and alive. When the bombing paused, I realized I was not alone. Beside me lay Mai, a volunteer from the road repair unit. Her leg was trapped beneath a fallen tree. Blood soaked the soil. She was biting down on a strip of cloth to keep from screaming. The message burned against my chest. If I stayed, the message would not reach the front. If I left, Mai would die alone. War teaches you that heroism is not a single choice. It is 1,000 unbearable ones. Mai looked at me and somehow smiled. "Go," she whispered. "If you don't, all of this means nothing." I ran. Behind me, the jungle burned. Ahead of me, men waited who would never know her name. When I delivered the message at dawn, my hands would not stop shaking. The commander nodded, already turning away, already thinking of the next move. Mai was never mentioned again. But the strike was avoided.
I survived the war. Many did not. When peace finally came, people spoke of victories, negotiations, and heroes with medals on their chests. Parades filled the streets, speeches filled the air. But I looked for the women who had walked barefoot through bombed forests. I looked for the girls who rebuilt roads under fire. I looked for the names of those who carried the war on their backs so others could carry rifles. Most of them were not there. The lesson I learned is simple, but history often forgets it. Wars are not won only by those who stand at the front. They are sustained by those who move in silence, by those who carry messages instead of weapons, by women whose courage was measured not in victories, but in endurance. If you ever walk through a peaceful forest and wonder how such a place survived a war, remember us. We were there, unseen, unrecorded, but never absent.